Despite the second most wins in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings play the LA Rams. Minnesota did not look its best against the Lions in the finale. Colt, how do you see this game going?
Sheesh, this is going to be a fun game, man. I look at the matchup between the head coaches, Kevin O'Connell, Jay. Both these guys were under him on his staff. Great guys. Love them both. Coming off a bad loss for the Minnesota Vikings. And then the Rams, they're playing good football. Matthew Stafford, he'd be hard to pick against. If we're voting on quarterbacks right here, I'm going with the Rams. You know, if that's the only thing you look at and that's how you make your prediction, he would be the guy that I would bet the farm on. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a fun matchup. Two teams built pretty similar. The Rams are a little bit younger, but they're both very aggressive on offense. They both kind of run the same scheme. And defensively, Brian Flores will come after you. He tries to confuse you. He'll put 8 guys on the line of scrimmage and come from all different angles. Maybe he'll drop out everybody. It'll be a game of who doesn't turn the ball over. I think the Vikings are more talented. I think they definitely have more skill on offense, but I think the Rams are young. I think they're hungry, and I think they'll play fantastic first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. There's no doubt about it. Jay, both these guys come from the Jay Gruden tree. You know both these coaches very, very well. The Vikings are probably going to be heavy favorites for this game. Do you see the Vikings just coming out and smashing them, or do you think see this as a tight game?
What's the higher or lower on how many times my name will get mentioned on the broadcast?
0.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Vikings obviously didn't play their best game. They're disappointed. However, sometimes when you have a game like that, it's better to get back and play another game right away the next week and really show what you have. You know what's interesting about the Vikings defense? We talk about how good they are, and they are really good, is they're number 2 against the rush, which the Rams really got to try to run the football at Kyren Williams. That's their meal ticket to win this football game. But they're 28th against the pass, which opens it up for Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. And now they have Tyler Higbee back. But the last couple of weeks that Matthew's played in meaningful games, they haven't really aired it out like you would think a Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay team would do. It's been more about the run, getting Kyren Williams going and the bootlegs off of that. So it'll be interesting to see how Sean attacks. Is he going to open it up early on? Can his line hold up against the pass rush of the Minnesota Vikings? Will they be able to find some holes? I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be an interesting game. The Rams already beat them once, so they should have the confidence. They're well rested, obviously. I don't know who to give the edge to right now. Honestly, the Rams defense is one thing you're concerned about. They have 4 rookie starters. They're mid-20s as far as total defense is concerned. They're really not great on third down. They're decent in the red zone. They give up big plays from time to time. So that's the biggest issue the Rams have right now is how can they stop this heavy-powered offense for the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, Sean McVay chose to rest his starters in the season finale. Justin, when they are rested, the Rams are one of the better offenses in this league. Are you putting the Vikings on upset alert?
I am putting the Vikings on upset alert. Look, the LA Rams went out there. I was at this game, Thursday Night Football. The Rams won 30-20 over the Vikings. Matthew Stafford had 4 touchdown passes. This is the first game that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp were back on the field. They look dynamic. They are on upset alert. They could definitely beat the Minnesota Vikings. They have to get Cooper Kupp back involved in this offense. When I look at this LA Rams team, I'm like, the last few games, you scored 3 touchdowns. I was out there Thursday night against San Fran. Cooper Kupp, nowhere to be found. The Jets game, they were sleepwalking through that one. The Arizona Cardinals game, a 13-9 victory. Where is this high-powered offense that we are talking about? The LA Rams make me very nervous. If they can get back to the midseason Rams when they were healthy and they were rolling, I'm very optimistic about what they can do, but I'm wondering where that team is. And I don't know if 2 weeks of rest or a week of rest is going to bring that team back.
Well, before we get back to the Rams offense, let's give everybody a shout out to helping us reach 12,000 subscribers. Let's get to 13. Let's get to 20 like we keep talking about. Drop a like, hit the subscribe, drop a comment, tell us everything you want to know about from our show. And please continue to follow along with us on the Clean Pocket channel. Colt, let's get back to the Rams offense a little bit. In their last 3 games where the Rams played their starters, all less than 20 points scored. What do they have to do to get back on track against this Minnesota Vikings team?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when they played the Jets, it was freezing cold and the wind was blowing like 45 miles an hour. They had to run the football. So let's take that one out. I think at the end of the day, they're rested, they're poised. They've got a veteran quarterback who is elite, and Cooper Kupp, Nakua, Higbee, they're all rolling. They're all ready. And Sean McVay knows how to beat this Brian Flores defense. They scored 30 points on him on a short week. And I just feel like they're going to be ready to roll. It's going to be a lot closer than what people think. And I certainly think this passing attack will come alive this week.
Okay, Jay, let's talk a little bit about both teams' defenses. Brian Flores and this Minnesota Vikings defense we've talked about all year, pretty well known for what they're great at. Strong front on the other side, not as well known of a defensive group. What do both these defenses have to do to get the dub, and what do they both do well?
Well, the Vikings play great run defense. They have those big boys in the middle. Harrison Phillips, who got a little bit banged up last week. They got Jonathan Bullard, who's a big, strong guy. Jerry Tillery, huge. And they got guys that can run. Jonathan Greenard and Ivan Pace Jr., his back. He's a ball hawk, chasing the ball all over the place. They have very smart players that can do a lot of great things. Andrew Van Ginkel, we see him on the perimeter. Please, Sean McVay, do not run a perimeter screen to the right. I mean, this guy.
Seriously, that guy.
I mean, how stupid can you be to keep running these? I mean, he's unbelievable. His recognition, he's awesome. And then Byron Murphy's a great player. Obviously, Harrison Phillips can do a lot of different things, rushing and dropping. So they're very versatile in what they do. They have enough size to stop the run and handle the run. And then once they get in third down, they got guys that can drop, rush, cover, all kinds of different things. So they're fun to watch. The Rams, on the other hand, they're young. And I think Chris Shula's done a very good job with the players that he's had. 4 rookies starting, obviously. They don't really have any, wow, this guy's awesome on their football team. They all have to play together as one unit. They have to be on the same page. They're very good with movement on the front and on the defensive line, the stunts, the TEs, the ETs, the slants. They're holding up despite not great corners. Achille Witherspoon and Darius Williams are probably below average corners as far as ranking them in the NFL. They're going to have a tough time against Addison and obviously Justin Jefferson. So this is a team that plays hard. They're mid-pack in about every category. It's going to be a tough handle against the Minnesota Vikings, but I think if they play together, play hard like they've been doing all year, they'll stay in a game, and hopefully Matthew Stafford can make something happen if you're a Ram fan.
Yeah, Justin, there's a ton of skill in this game on both sides of the football. A fantasy football owner's dream when you look at every single skill player on this field come this weekend. And so when you look at that, which side of the ball has the edge?
I think Cole mentioned it earlier. The Minnesota Vikings had the edge, but I wanted to dive into it a little bit. I mean, if you go position by position, obviously at quarterback, I think the LA Rams have the clear-cut advantage with Matthew Stafford. Now we get into the running backs. You have Aaron Jones, you have Kyron Williams. They both do a little bit different things. Kyron's running that duo scheme right down your throat, a little bit more of a power back. Aaron Jones is he's running the outside zone, picking and finding his places. So I think if you look at running back, they're very fairly matched up. Now we get to the receivers. And this is where I need to see a little bit of Cooper Kupp of old, because Justin Jefferson is the best skill position player on the field by far. Puka Nacua has been great. He is not Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison has been ascending. Meanwhile, Cooper Kupp, I haven't seen in the last 3 or 4 games. He's been that missing piece to this offense. If Cooper Kupp shows up and is the Cooper Kupp of old, the Rams have a chance to compete. TJ Hawkins is a better tight end than Higbee. Higbee's coming off a catastrophic knee injury. So the Colts' original point, I think the Vikings win in those 2 areas, tight end and their wide receiver 1. But don't sleep on these Rams skill position players, because they can get after it, and they have proven that over their careers.
In football, every game means more during the playoffs, and you can start your own personal playoffs on Underdog, where you could cash in on touchdowns, interceptions, yards, or more. All you have to do is pick higher or lower, and you could take home up to 1,000 times your money if you get your picks right. It's that simple. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making picks. Sign up for Underdog today using promo code POCKET, capital POCKET, and you'll get a free pick as a part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, that's promo code POCKET. All right, Jay, who do you got winning this game between the Rams and the Vikings?
Thinking the Vikings, big bounce back win for them. Huge win for Kevin O'Connell on the road playoffs. I should think top to bottom, they're a better veteran team, and they're going to make more plays. I think Justin Jefferson is going to be too much for this young secondary to handle, and the Vikings get the win.
The matchup that I'm looking for in this game is when teams have gone big against the Rams, when they've gone 2 tight end sets, when they've gone 13 personnel, they really get what they want in the pass game. And because you got either Hoyt or Verse dropping out in coverage, or you bring a 5-man rush and you got people on islands, which means that's an advantage Minnesota Vikings. They can put Addison, they can put Jefferson in the slot, still go big, run their route combinations off of that play action. And I think that's too much for the Rams. I really do. I think that's something they didn't really attack the first game. And when you watch the Rams on defense, I just don't know that they're ready to go into the playoffs and stop Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Now, it's hard for me to pick against Matthew Stafford. I think they're going to score points, and I think this game is going to be close. But at the end of the day, I think the Minnesota Vikings have played great all year. They've surprised a ton of people. Go Vikes. Go Skull. Skull.
I'm also going the Minnesota Vikings. The LA Rams, I picked them to be one of the NFC West dark horses when they were down earlier in the season, and they surprised us all. I think they lit up the scoreboard. They were winning games. They have limped into the playoffs, not scoring a lot of touchdowns down the stretch. I think the Minnesota Vikings come in with that attitude of getting that taste out of their mouth of losing to the Detroit Lions. I think they go out there and get a win.
For me, when I watched the Vikings the other night, I just thought, and I think they made mention of it on the telecast, I think Sam Darnold, when it's not perfect, everything's high. Everything's just a little high. Every ball is a little high. And when you're high in the playoffs, tips and overthrows, interceptions and turnovers, I just think they're going to make some plays. And I think McVay did the right thing. He got rested and he got the guys ready to go. And I think you're going to see Cooper show back up. And I think you're going to see this offense that Colt and I, when we turned on the film midseason and FaceTime each other, we loved watching. It was the building and the evolution throughout the game of the game plan as they continued to roll offensively midseason to get back on track, to put themselves in a position to get to the playoffs. And now they're here. They get a big win over the Minnesota Vikings.
I can see that happening, man. This is a great matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams find a way to pull it off. They're well coached with a great quarterback, and that's a good combination headed into the playoffs. And the Vikings definitely have to play well. This is no pushover, right? The Rams are tough. They're playing good football. I know Matthew Stafford wants that rematch with the Lions at some point, so you never know.